We built plans for top three title insurance companies in US. We create, what we do is basically we get recorded documents. So we, as a scanned documents, we extract the data from them and we provide business solutions based on the data, and we provide data as a raw as well. So that is where the primary shift started. We wanted to start as a small technology to understand the document and extract the data. Now we have been providing multiple solutions based of it. So we created a complete a framework, like a core banking framework, which can be used by a title and mortgage industries. So what happens is, like, once you apply for a loan, so what happens, there is a process that happens behind the this thing. So these lenders will give the loan details to a title agency. So your first primary this thing for a mortgage is you have to take a title insurance, whether you are registering a deed, whether you are doing a mortgage, or whether it is a sale deed. So you need to do a title insurance. That is the primary process. So there involves different stages of title insurance. So we need to get extract of your document. We need to see what are all the legal details that is available, whether the property is clear of title. So those kinds of details we need to collect. Based on that, we there are some several processing in terms of recording, in terms of closing. So it completes a complete workflow from the loan application to the end loan dispersal. After loan dispersal also, we do something called servicing. So what happens is, like, these mortgage companies or lenders are supposed to service the loan. They should see whether that particular person is paying the EMIs in particular date. All the taxation, they should make sure that any lien should not be published in the property. So these are all some things that creates a big process workflow in each stages. So our framework, which we have created in terms of Uniclose and Unidex, so those framework has been built in a way such that it covers each and every process. It helps in optimization. So that is how we created the product itself. So our Unidex is a product which understands the document, which does the extraction of the document. Uniclose is a product which will run some rules over those data that is extracted, and it will give you a report, and it will automate the process. So we have been using AWS from the beginning. So I mean, wherever I work, my first cloud solution provider will be AWS, in terms of their supports and in terms of the variety they have in terms of their services. I like the service of AWS. So when compared to other cloud providers, AWS gives us the direct connect, which I can do anything by just taking my phone, just calling my RM. So he will support to me, like, more to the end. So that is why we have been more associated with the AWS. We started with small EC2 instances. Now we are one of the biggest accounts in Bangalore for AWS, and we are highest volume users in terms of their some of their services. One thing is, like, they keep on innovating the space. So when OpenAI started, we started to implement in some of our projects, some of our softwares, and we saw a difference in the output and difference in the process that is happening. So if you see the technology that is being provided by the Bedrock, so how it makes our works easier. See, for OpenAI initially to set up to this thing, there was a big learning curve. That curve got cut with AWS. So some of the services which they provide, we were not majority of the AWS services provider. We use most of their means services not on large scale. So when we saw the modularity that it provides, like in terms of your AWS serverless Lambda, in terms of their EKS container system, so some of the services which we provide, which reduces our cost, and we don't have to worry in terms of scaling up. Again, the comfort that AWS gives in terms of data, I mean privacy, the storage of data, and the freedom. So that is one thing which we like with AWS. So I got a clear answer from AWS says that, like, we are interested in providing B2B solutions. We want to be a solution enabler rather than a solution provider. So that gives us the comfort in going into market, taking AWS products, pitching into, I mean, creating a solutions out of it and going into the market. See, we have applications, front-end applications and back-end applications. Our back-end applications are primarily serverless microservices, which runs on AWS Lambda. That is the primary this thing, and we connect with AWS Bedrock in terms of all our foundation models. And we have our some of our models developed and we have deployed in SageMakers, and that through to AWS Bedrock we fetch the data from them. And apart from that, we use other services of AWS, like your AWS Gateway, EC2 for deploying our applications, your load balancer. So whatever that is available in terms of web stack, we utilize it. In terms of AWS, one thing is like we don't have to worry about the scalability. When our customers onboard, so immediately we get, based on their volume and based on their requirement, we will ask some quota provisions and they will provision us the quota. Based on that, we will scale. And all the what happened in terms of our moving our applications to serverless is like, we forget about maintaining those servers. So everything runs as a serverless architecture. It runs across the different regions in US, and it helped us to scale a lot. And we reduced our infrastructure cost in terms of maintaining these, and modularizing the application into a next gen application, so that our running cost comes down, and we don't have to worry too much about handling the data. For every customer, we create a VPC and we place the customer inside the VPC. So his data, we are not worried about the data going out of his VPC. So we provide the security as well. So most of these AWS services helps us to scale our application to the customer needs. And see, main motive of that is not only on that, so I don't have to have a fixed provision of hardware. So everything has a run as you go. So we pay only for what we are going to use. So that itself is a huge turnaround. AI is not something which has come or developed in the recent environment. So right from 1950s, there has been talk going on in AI. So we used to call it as symbolic AI. So what happens there is like we used to create algorithms based on the data. It has to work on the algorithms. We create certain rules through code, and it used to run. Then your machine learning came, where we used to train a particular model. We take a model, we train it, we gave it a lot of data to make it as a specific purpose. We were not able to achieve actually what we wanted. So as a product, we see, okay, this is fine, this is doing ML, this is doing AI, we are getting a data, fine. But when we are going productionizing, so that is where we found it very difficult, in the sense like we were not able to increase rapidly in terms of the quality. Even for a small change, again we need a huge amount of data. So that was a huge task that involved. But when generative AI came into space, so it's a general purpose AI, so it understands language. So how generative AI evolved is like they started an application which actually will fill what is your next word. So when I type AWS is a cloud, it will suggest me the provider. So that is where they started as an application. And based on that user input and other these things, this I mean, they started training with huge model, and the amount of understanding that it provides to whatever data that we have been providing is huge. So now it has become more over as a collaborative AI. We call this era as a collaboration era, where this AI has become a partners to us. It is not going to replace us. It increases our efficiency. Say for example, our product. So before the AI era, so to complete one particular mortgage cycle, if it taking like 5 days, so now we were able to close it within 1.5 day. So to understand a particular mortgage package for an underwriter, it takes hours. But now we do pre-underwriting with our package. What happens is like the moment we receive a package, it clears all the rules. It understands the data between different documents. It classifies the documents. It understands what are all the problems that is in the package. It understands what are all the advantages in the package, and it clears out the data. So underwriter works in terms of reviewing is almost reduced. So there are some customers who are coming like asking whether we can replace our underwriter with this product. So to that level, I mean, these solutions are helping it out. I can see that a lot of companies have took AI as a model, but for them, how to run, how to scale it as a production, whether they will get a cost benefit out of it. Those things are something that we, as a product base, we have to decide. So that is one thing, and eventually over the period of period of years, so the cost of running the AI will come down. And where I can see is like more development now is going towards the electronics, towards the hardware which is going to run. So in future another 2 3 years, so Apple or Google might release a chip, or might release a microprocessor which can handle AI by its own in your mobile. So it will become your hardware specific device. A small conversational agent can be inbuilt in your phone, so that helps the user in understanding. So more it has become a collaborative, and it will increase the efficiency in multiple ways. It has both its advantages as well as disadvantages, but I mean, there has been regulations that is going on, constant talk is going on how to make generative AI or LLMs to be more responsible, more ethical, because we don't want something bad to happen. Now it handles a huge amount of data, which is not even possible. You take I mean, you take a chemist. So in terms of an healthcare, in terms of a medicine company, so for them, if you see the research cycle to understand a basic chemical composition, they have to do it with the theoretical knowledge that these LLM process. And if you train an LLM properly, it can reduce your R&D cost. That will improve huge in terms of healthcare environment. So that is something. And more towards the future, now we will get more agents, more robotics will come into play, whatever that we have seen in the movies like Iron Man, in the movies like your robot and all, which is coming in the near future.